Welcome to Soul Elevation, guiding your ascension to new heights. I'm your host, Kara Goodwin, and today I want to talk about overcoming lower vibrations. And I had just last night, just overnight, I had a really powerful experience of this that I wanted to set the conversation up with. And this actually happened in the dream time, in the quote unquote dream time, um, because really it felt like more than a dream. It really felt like it was actual activity happening in the astral plane. The astral plane is another layer of reality that we sometimes experience in the dream state. Some people who are able to lucid dream will experience things in the astral plane. People like Robert Monroe, who talk about lucid dreaming, have a lot of in depth experience with the astral plane. Some of his books might be ways that if you've never heard of the astral, that you can get an understanding of what that environment is like. Disembodied spirits, so people who have recently died, for example, or people who have died and never gone to the light, and are still kind of hanging around the earth plane. That would be an example of things that are happening in the astral plane. There's also a conversation that I had two conversations with Elizabeth Green. She talks quite a bit about the astral plane too. Um, so anyway, getting back to my experience last night, I this was a very powerful dream. And the reason that I think that it was more than a dream is not only the way that I felt, but when I woke up, what happened that indicated to me there was more going on than just the mind doing its dreamlike thing where it might be processing things from the day or processing things from reality, waking reality, organizing things, clearing things out, typical sort of more mundane dream type of things. And this happened, I don't even know what time, but it was not right before I woke up. It was in the middle of the night. So I I wish I would have written it down. I did think to write it down, but it was so powerful when I woke up that I thought there's no way I'm going to forget any of this. But anyway, the gist of it, there is a lot that I have forgotten, but the gist of it is that I was about to be attacked in some way. And I was with a couple of guests, incidentally, that I'm having on the podcast in 2 days. I'll be interviewing doctors JJ and Desiree Hertak, and I was with them. And the clearest thing that I have remembered when I woke up this morning is that right before I was attacked, both of them, like somehow their arms became really, really long and very big, and they both took their arms and they covered me. And then I woke up. But their arms just became like almost comically long and big, and they were able to shield me from whatever I was being about to be attacked by. Now, when I woke up, there was an element to this that I was like, there's no way I'll forget this. There was some like device or artifact or something. And I have forgotten what that is. But I was in a lot of fear. I woke up, I was relieved that it was a dream, quote unquote dream, but I had all this residual fear. And it was one of those where I wasn't really sure I opened my eyes and I was like, oh, thank God it was a dream. But I still felt all of this fear. And then the reason that I do feel that this was more than a dream is that this is about the third time this has happened where I wake up, my eyes are open, and I get these pulses of light. And it happens very rhythmically. I did have thunderstorms in the area last night. This was after the storms had passed because the first few times it happened, I was like, is that lightning? there was no thunder, and it was like clockwork. Um, and it didn't have the same quality as lightning has, but it was like, I mean, I didn't count it out, but I could have counted it out. It was very like clockwork. It was happening very rhythmically. And it was just like the whole room for a fraction of a second. There would be this light that would come in, and then it would immediately, it was just literally a fraction of a second of light. Um, Clearly something happening internally. That light was something that I was seeing with my physical eyes, but I don't think that anybody else, if somebody else had been in the room, that they would have seen the same thing. It did seem clear to me that it was something happening internally, but it was projecting through my eyes so that I witnessed it in that way. But I also felt, as a hangover from this dream, as I was kind of getting my bearings, I felt that there was a presence with me. And I wasn't completely comfortable with this presence. Um, Again, this dream, this astral experience was a frightening experience. And so I was kind of still in that energy of fear as I'm experiencing this now the waking state, and I'm experiencing these pulses of light. I'm experiencing feeling that I have a presence with me, and I'm not sure if it's a benevolent presence. And I can feel this fear. I felt very, very vulnerable. And it was like I um, I just felt afraid. And I know, I mean, you've heard me talk about, if this is not the first time that you've watched one of my videos, you've heard me talk about fear and vibration and how that is a low vibration that keeps us vulnerable and it keeps us controllable. And so I could feel this fear, but not only could I feel the fear, but I could feel the low vibration that I was resonating at that time. And I knew that the real protection was to vibrate higher, to come. I needed to come out of that fear, and I needed to raise my vibration. And I couldn't raise my vibration if I was holding on to that fear. And so, because I have a long have a lot of practice with meditation, I have been able to really feel that vibration, that subtle vibration within my being. So it was not a mental exercise for me. It was a literal coming into my energy, tuning into my energy, and literally making it go faster, lifting it to a higher octave. So if that doesn't make a lot of sense to you, because it does take, it's a subtle um, skill. And you need to, in order to do that, you need to be able to tune into your energy. And there's a lot of subtlety. This is not like lift your arm. Here are the muscles that you engage in the mechanics of doing that. It is working with subtle energy. You have to be able to tune into it, to be able to feel it, and then be able to work with it. But if you're not at a level yet where you feel subtle energy and you know how to move it, you know how to change it, you can use your feelings. So I kind of bypassed that in order to just get where I needed to be. In that moment, it was faster for me to literally work with my energy. But your feelings, your vibration is connected I mean, it's very connected to your feelings. Your energy and your feelings are very connected, is what I'm trying to say. So if I wanted to take a different approach, if you find yourself in this situation where you're in a lot of fear, you've recognized that you're in a lot of fear, you want to not feel that, you want to go into a higher vibration, or you're just feeling like you're kind of dragging around, you're feeling heavy, you want to lighten, you understand that this is not creating the reality that you want, it's not creating the experience moment to moment that you want, and you want to pull yourself out of it. Your feelings are very closely tied to your vibration. And so another way that I could have dealt with this was, okay, I recognize that I'm in fear. I want to get out of this fear. Um, Let me think of something that I really love, or let me think of something that makes me feel a lot of joy. And then it's bringing all of your attention and all of your focus to that thing. Now, this is not necessarily easy. Um, I can say from my experience last night, it took everything I had to let go of that fear. It was a deliberate choice to say, I know what I need to do here. But it was, I mean, that experience that I had had was, it had just happened, and it was so palpable at that point. And it was really easy to feel vulnerable and to feel fear. But I literally knew that my protection required a higher vibration. That was my protection. And that would enable me to connect deeper with my guides on the other side, and to enable that protection as well. But I needed to lift myself up to kind of meet the energy in a place where I could become untouchable. And but it it is not easy. It could be very easy for me to be like, no, it's too much, I'm afraid, and let myself go that direction. So I'm not saying that if you're feeling afraid, or if you're feeling depressed, or if you're feeling pulled down, I'm not saying that it's really easy. Just think of the kitten that you loved holding when you were 8 years old, and everything will be fine. Um, it is a deliberate choice. It takes focus. It takes concentration. And it, again, choice. I'm going to go back to choice again. It takes your choice to do that. But you can do that. You are the one that is in charge of your thoughts. Nobody else is in charge of your thoughts. You get to decide moment by moment where you place your focus. Now, there's a lot that feeds into that. And there's a lot, honestly, there is so much energy in this realm that has competing agendas, and everybody wants your attention. Everybody wants you focused on their crisis, their whatever it is. They benefit when you give your focus, your energy to their agenda. So if let's just take an easy one. You're watching the news, and the news has story after story after story of things for you to be afraid of. It's going to deliver to you bad news that makes you feel afraid. It's not necessarily about you, but it could be about you. And that's what they are wanting you to connect. This is something that happened to somebody else. You're vulnerable. This could happen to you. This could have been you. This could be you in the future. And your intelligent mind does that. And then it can latch onto it, and it can feed this fear. And then you keep hearing story after story after story, more and more, that you're piling on, that you need to be worried about, that could be you. And how are you going to keep yourself safe? And all of that, that's your attention. That's your attention, your energy that is going towards somebody else's agenda that benefits from you being in fear. And so that might be the advertisers who are promoting their products on the news. Um, you're in fear. You're going to keep tuning in because you think that the more you know, the more protected you are. By the way, while I'm watching this, I'm going to watch these commercials. That's likely the products that I'm going to buy or consider buying. They might be the solution for, the problems, all these problems that I've amassed in my life. You get to decide what you think. You get to decide what you put your energy on, what you put your attention on. And so at any given point, you can let go of those thoughts. You can let go of the things that you're worried about. And you can put your attention on things that make you feel good. on memories that make you feel good. You can connect with people who make you feel good. You can watch content that makes you feel good. You can go out in nature. That's the thing that I would recommend more than anything. Go take a walk in the woods. Go get in a body of natural water. Go to the beach if you can. Go to the mountains if you can. Like spending time in nature really helps you to shed a lot of that buildup. But ultimately, it is your choice. You are the master of your reality, or you can be the master of your reality. You don't have to be pulled along by all of these agendas. It takes choice. It takes your choice. Again, it's not necessarily easy. It is simple, though. But in the moment, again, going back to my experience, in the moment, it took everything I had to be able to, even like fraction of a second by fraction of a second, just choosing not to go into that fear and to keep lifting and increasing the vibration. So um, I I hope that that makes sense, and I hope that you are able to connect more and more with how you feel and what is happening in your life, and that you have the ability to work through how you feel and to elevate how you feel and understand that the more time and energy you're putting into getting into a higher vibration, the more you are raising your vibration as your foundation, so that when you drop lower, because we're all on a spectrum of vibration. So as you keep spending more time in a higher vibration, then the times when you do drop down, when life really comes at you and things start to fall apart, your floor, the bottommost part of where you hit, keeps elevating. As you keep raising your vibration, you don't fall as low when you do have those lower times. So it's a process. Be patient with yourself, be compassionate, be diligent, and you've got every blessing to keep moving forward. And I'll just, as I'm finishing up here, I hope that you've signed up for the Galactic Summit coming up on August 2nd. I'm so excited for the 10 amazing speakers who will be there. Debbie Solaris, Viviane Chauvet, Daniel Scranton, Neil Gower, Kimberly Meredith, John Napolitano, who I just released an episode with yesterday. There's so many great speakers. You're really going to want to join. And we have really amazing VIP gifts. And you also get lifetime access to the replay if you go VIP. It's only $55 if you're able to upgrade. Hopefully, $55 is no big deal for you. If you're able to upgrade, you're going to get a lot of value out of the VIP package. So I highly recommend going further so that you can get hours and hours worth of extra content, bonus content from each speaker. And beyond that, I just wish you many blessings. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode of Soul Elevation.